Episode 13 of My Dearest starts with Gu Yangchun refusing the help of the women he terms tarnished by the intruders, and Gilchai and other captives escaping capture by the hunters. Jang Hyun arrives in time to help them escape, but Gilchai and other Joseon women captives reach a dead end on a cliff. Some women choose to jump into the water below, taking their lives. According to Joseon customs, they choose to die instead of going back soiled, as it would be a sin. Gilchai tells them it is their will to live, and it does not concern their parents. She reminds Jeongjong how they chose to stay alive at Ganghwa Island and have been happy. She promises to protect Jeongjong and other Joseon women who choose to live and be recaptured. She offers her hand as assurance just as the hunters arrive and take them back to the slave market. Jeongjong and Gilchai are separated. Gu Wonmu and his assistant arrive at an inn to rest for the night. They share a room with other men who taunt Wonmu for going to save a woman soiled by other men. Wonmu gets into a confrontation with the men, and later that night, they try to steal his coins. When he catches up to them, one begs on his knees for Wonmu to give him the money he intends to use to bail his wife to pay for his son. He tells Wonmu there is no need to get back his wife since she has lost her chastity, and he can always find another wife. The son's life is more important, since the man cannot replace his flesh and blood. Wonmu goes back, thinking about the man's words. In Hanyang, Gilchai's family worries about Gilchai's abduction, while the neighbors think she deserves it. Une prays for the safe return of Gilchai and Jeongjong. Yeonjun tries to get assistance from the royal court but is turned back. He decides to go to the scholar who helped him while in prison to ask for help. The scholar says he has no way to help Gilchai due to a lack of evidence that she is not an escaped captive. The scholar who escorts him out asks him to join them and help rebuild the country that is falling apart. Jang Hyun delivers the cows to the Joseon farmers. Later, he finds out that the masked slave hunter is the Qing princess, and she has noticed him. She asks Jang Hyun to give his time. Meanwhile, Wonmu arrives in Simyang to look for Gilchai. He inquires from the officials, but her name is not on the list of captured slaves. One official suggests that he look at the slave market. On the way, Wonmu remembers the words of the men he met. She would be okay if she is sold to the princess's house, but other men will soil her body if she is sent to the slave market. The sight of the women at the market horrifies Wonmu. The princess takes Jang Hyun for a walk, but his reactions puzzle her. She says normal men usually stutter in her company or cannot look her in the eyes. The princess's words remind him of Gilchai saying something similar, and he laughs. The princess tells him of her role in the invasion of Joseon, but His Majesty disapproves of active women in society, so he says she should keep the palace women in line. Hence, she decided to hunt captives in disguise due to boredom. Later, she tries to kiss Jang Hyun, but he pulls away. She suggests he join her in her bed, but he says if a mere interpreter like him gets involved with royalty, he might lose his life. Emperor Khan asks the Crown Prince to provide military rations for the Songshon battlefield. The court officials are against it, and want him to ask for King Injo's opinion. The Crown Prince asks eunuch Pyo to send to Jang Hyun. He tells him about Yong Jeoldae trying to intimidate him again. Jang Hyun offers to help him find workers and horses to send to Jeoldae to help the Crown Prince continue to protect and stay loyal to the Joseon people. Meanwhile, the Qing princess sends a spy to look into Jang Hyun, and she reports that the Joseon Crown Prince seems to favor and trust Jang Hyun. She also tells her that Jang Hyun is not close to any women, and in his free time, he drinks alone. Wonmu returns to Hanyang but without Gilchai. In a flashback of his confrontation with the seller at the slave market, he is told that Gilchai is sold to a man. He also adds that she must be exhausted from caring for the man. Unei does not accept that it is Gilchai's fate, so she asks Madame Bangdu to accompany her to Simyang to bring back Gilchai and Jeongjong. Riang Um overhears Unei's conversation with Yeonjun and decides to go to Simyang to get Gilchai. He knows that Jang Hyun is tied to her, and he might go crazy if something bad happened to her. Meanwhile, The slave buyer who had Gilchai brings her back and asks for his money. His head is bandaged, and he says it is Gilchai's fault. The slave seller thinks Gilchai is a nuisance, and takes her back to her cell. He also mentions that her husband came looking for her. The princess asks Jang Hyun to accompany her hunting. Later at night, she insists that he serve her in bed and promise not to abandon him like the women in his heart did. If she is married to another man, she will take him with her as long as he serves her in bed. The princess gets drunk and passes out. The following day, Jang Hyun offers her honey water to help with the hangover. She thinks he stayed up all night stoking the fire so she does not get cold. Yang Chun and Gu Jam argue about whether or not Jang Hyun spent the night with a woman. Gu Jam thinks Jang Hyun cannot be with other women because of Gilchai. When Jang Hyun arrives, he tells them he spent the night talking with a woman, but Yang Chun thinks otherwise. At the same time, Gilchai seems to have lost all hope since the seller told her that one Mu came for her but gave up and returned when he heard another man bought her. She loses her will to fight and becomes agreeable to her captives. One day, she sees Jang Hyun at the market but hides to avoid him noticing her. Later in her cell, she thinks he might still feel hotter than others and even dreams of Jang Hyun coming to get her as her husband. Riang Yum arrives in Simyang and tells Jang Hyun that Gilchai is in Simyang. He goes to the slave market to look for her. Coincidentally, Gilchai is the item on sale. She thinks she sees things when she first sees him, but their eyes meet. Jang Hyun's demeanor changes, and he beats every man who tries to stop him from approaching the aisle. He kneels next to her, and tears start streaming down. The episode ends as he keeps crying out, "Why?" since he cannot understand how Gilchai is at the slave market. The episode review. The episode delves deep into how the Joseons and the Qing people look down on women. The Joseons think a woman who has been captured is not worthy of being saved as the husbands can get another wife. The Qing emperor thinks his daughters need not be active in society. Their role is to get into arranged marriages for the nation's sake. One Mu gave up on Gilchai, and Yenjun let Unei go alone to rescue Gilchai. The only people going against the beliefs are Gilchai and Jang Hyun. She stops women from committing suicide by encouraging them to survive, and Jang Hyun fights his way towards Gilchai. If you did not cry when Jang Hyun set his eyes on Gilchai, your heart must be so strong. That look carried the weight of his confusion, disbelief, worry, anger, affection, and heartbreak. I could not hold myself back as he fought towards her, never once taking his eyes off her. Can they finally get together? What other obstacles will they have to overcome?